The US once had a plan for a single nuclear bomb so powerful it could wipe out everything: cities, oceans, civilization, gone. One detonation and human history would stop. No do-overs, no survivors, no "see you in the wasteland." It was called Project Sundial, the Cold War's deadliest what if, and proof that humans are terrible at knowing when to stop. If you were born in 1905, your biggest danger was stepping in horse manure, catching the flu, or losing your hat in the wind. By 1945, humanity had reinvented the planet. Radio, airplanes, television, and bombs that could erase a city in seconds. Hiroshima, Nagasaki. In those two blinding flashes, the world realized something terrifying. For the first time in history, nowhere on Earth was truly safe. Cities could vanish faster than you could boil water for tea. In 1946, the United States even proposed the Baruch Plan, an international agreement to control and limit nuclear weapons. The idea was simple. Maybe the world should get rid of nukes before things spiraled out of control. But trust between nations was already cracking. The Cold War was just beginning, and neither the United States nor the Soviet Union wanted to give up their newfound power. The Soviet spark. Then came 1949, the year everything changed. The Soviet Union successfully detonated its first atomic bomb, shattering America's sense of security overnight. In Washington, alarms weren't just political metaphors. Sirens wailed, intelligence reports flooded in, and generals scrambled into high-level meetings. The United States had believed it had years, maybe even a decade, before the Soviets caught up. Instead, the nuclear monopoly was gone in an instant. Panic turned into urgency. Research labs worked around the clock, scientists pushed the boundaries of physics, and factories churned out warheads at unprecedented speeds. The nuclear arms race wasn't a cautious buildup. It was an all-out sprint toward annihilation. In 1946, the U.S. arsenal held just 9 nuclear bombs. By 1960, that number had exploded to more than 20,000. Each one was built to be bigger, deadlier, and more terrifying than the last, as both superpowers sought to outdo each other. It was the most dangerous game of minds bigger than yours in human history, and the stakes were nothing less than the survival of the planet. Enter Edward Teller. Amid this frenzy, one man became the symbol of bigger is better thinking. Edward Teller. A Hungarian-born physicist, Teller was brilliant, intense, and to some, terrifying. He looked at the destruction of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and considered them small. Teller wasn't interested in balance or restraint. He wanted to push the boundaries of destructive power to their absolute limit. His crowning achievement was the hydrogen bomb, a weapon so powerful it made the atomic bombs dropped on Japan look like firecrackers. The hydrogen bomb changes everything. The hydrogen bomb wasn't just another step in the arms race, it was a leap. While an atomic bomb used nuclear fission, the H-bomb added nuclear fusion, the same process that powers the sun. The irony? You needed an atomic bomb just to ignite a hydrogen bomb. In 1952, the US tested its first hydrogen bomb at Inuiatak Atoll in the Pacific. The explosion vaporized an island, left a crater over a mile wide, and proved that the destructive potential of human technology had only begun to grow. 2 years later, advancements pushed the bomb's power to over 1,000 times that of Hiroshima. Most people would have considered that the peak of human madness. But Teller? He was just getting started. Project Sundial, the Doomsday device. Teller's next idea was so extreme it bordered on science fiction, except it wasn't fiction at all. Project Sundial was not a weapon meant for winning wars. It was a planetary off switch. The estimated yield? 10 billion tons of TNT. That's roughly 3,000 times the total explosive force of every bomb dropped in World War II combined. If Sundial had been detonated, the fireball would have vaporized everything for hundreds of miles. The shockwave would travel around the globe. The fallout wouldn't just poison the blast zone, it would contaminate the Earth's atmosphere permanently. Sundial wasn't just about killing an enemy, it was about making sure nobody survived anywhere to fight again. The logic was horrifyingly simple. If you can't win, make sure no one else wins either. Why Sundial was never built. What's unsettling about Project Sundial is that it wasn't canceled because it was impossible. The math worked, the physics worked, the technology existed. The only thing missing was the political will to actually deploy it. Even in the fevered atmosphere of the Cold War, there was a point where military planners looked at a design and thought, "This is too much." Sundial crossed that line. It wasn't a weapon you could threaten with. Using it would mean annihilating yourself in the process. So it stayed in the realm of classified documents and theoretical designs, a blueprint for the end of the world that almost made it into reality. The ghost of Sundial. Here's the scary part. While Sundial itself was never built, the thinking behind it never truly went away. Today's militaries may not design single bombs to end civilization, but the logic, be so dangerous that no one dares attack you, still drives global strategy. We've replaced mega bombs with precision-guided missiles, AI-controlled drones, cyber weapons, and hypersonic delivery systems. These tools are more selective, but they're still built on the same principle of overwhelming, undeniable retaliation. In a strange way, Sundial was less about ending the Cold War and more about defining it, setting the tone for decades of brinkmanship where destruction was always a button away. What it says about us, Project Sundial, is a reminder of something uncomfortable. Humans have a long history of pushing limits simply because we can. Every technological leap comes with the temptation to see how far it can go, whether it's medicine, AI, or weapons of mass destruction. In the right combination of fear, ego, and political tension, it's entirely possible for that "let's see how far we can take it" mindset to return. And next time, it might not stop at the design phase. Sundial never left the folder, but it could have. And the fact that it came as close as it did should make everyone wonder just how thin the line is between theoretical nightmares and real-world history. Project Sundial was never tested, never deployed, never even built. But the fact that it was seriously considered should send a chill down your spine. If the right conditions lined up, the right combination of fear, pride, and advanced technology, what's to say it couldn't happen again? The Cold War may be over, but the mindset that created Sundial isn't gone. The next Doomsday device might not look like a giant bomb. It could be silent, invisible, and already in development somewhere you'll never hear about until it's too late. And that's the real lesson of Project Sundial. Humanity's most dangerous weapon isn't the bomb itself, it's the willingness to build it.